guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We are still here in Plano, Texas at the Texas headquarters for HQ Confidential. And guess what? A lot of big talk about new models coming to market, and there's a lot of excitement with what's right next to me. This is that upcoming Toyota bZ4x. But before we get into this, first of what is yet to be determined of around 7 electric vehicles that are upcoming from Toyota, let's talk about what's going on. Obviously, you'd have to be living under a rock somewhere far, far away to not understand what's going on with the auto industry and internal combustion engines. We're seeing a shift from internal combustion engines to hybrids, and now there's a mad dash towards electric vehicles. Of course, if you mention an EV, everybody's gonna say Tesla, but you know what? The manufacturers, the OEMs that have been in the car industry for decades are now taking all their technology, all their engineering, and they're going towards that EV direction with their lineup. Now, when looking at this bZ4x, you're probably wondering, well, BZ, what does that mean? What's going on there? So we're talking about that below zero. We're talking about zero emissions. And of course, with electric vehicles and electric motors, you could easily get that all-wheel drive capability that so many people really need, especially when you're living in those climates where things could get very, very snowy or muddy or everything in between. So let's go ahead, let's do a nice look over with this new first electric vehicle from Toyota and see, is this gonna be the one that you're gonna wanna be charging in your garage someday very soon? Let's find out. Now, when looking at the overall proportions of this vehicle, you might say to yourself, what kind of vehicle does that remind me of? And you're probably saying, yes, you back there? Yes, the RAV4. The RAV4, this is actually same dimensions as the RAV4, but like I said, being a full electric vehicle. Starting at the front of the business, you're gonna see some of that familiar styling from Toyota, but kind of taken into the next direction. You're gonna have your LED headlight setup in there, that multi-beam, sort of similar to what you would find like on a Lexus product. And that's the thing I'm very happy to say, is that there seems to be a nice direct connection between the styling of efforts from Toyota and also that premium brand Lexus. But you're gonna have your LED daytime running lamp, massive side air curtains. So being an electric vehicle, one of those things is we want to cheat the air, we want to control the air. So these massive side air curtains are actually going to allow that air to be directed and channeled down the side of the vehicle. And I really like the way they kind of have that different color. It's like a smoke metallic with the outer edge of the air curtain compared to the rest of the vehicle, and it is fully functional, even coming down into this lower, what some people would call a splitter area, to help split the air and direct it down the side. Now, when we come across the front area of this vehicle, normally I would say grille, right? You say grille because we're talking about internal combustion engine. I think one of the smart things is that Toyota was able to take some familiar styling, say from the RAV4, and bring it to the bZ4x to give it that overall familiar feel to an SUV. So you're gonna have some just gloss black in this top section, some metallic silver, really ties it in. Like I said, you park this next to a RAV4, it's gonna fit in perfectly. And this is a combined effort with Subaru. Remember, they released their Solterra electric SUV. This is that connection, just like the BRZ and the Toyota GR86. But I like this nice flat silver finish down there, almost gives it like a nice aluminum finish. And then you're gonna have this flat black area, horizontal, that's gonna be able to channel some air. Now, when we get up onto the hood, of course, you're gonna have that Toyota badge. Even though this isn't a hybrid vehicle, you're still gonna get that blue effect because this is alternative to regular internal combustion engine. We have just slight body lines that rise up, and then I'm really loving the peaks on the outside of the hood, really flow right into that A-pillar. Some gloss black, I think, does a good job of kind of differentiating the hood style. And over time, we'll have to see how that would wear, but still, I think, breaks up the sea of the metallic gray. Now, when we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup. The great news is these style wheels, it doesn't look like a science experiment maybe on older hybrids and whatnot. They actually look like a standard style wheel. This is gonna be a 20-inch wheel. Love the gloss black, the machined aluminum, that metallic gray finish there, of course, with the Toyota badge. And I'm even digging those blue calipers. Really kind of ties in with what's going on with the badging especially with the amount of gloss black there. Now, if you're wondering, well, Joe, what's the size of this tire? You're looking at a 235 on the width, meaty 55 series sidewall. Remember, I know a lot of vehicles, they seem to be going lower and lower in tire profile. It gives you a harsh ride. Having a 55 series tire is gonna give you a more comfortable ride as you're gliding down the road in your EV. You got your plug-in port obviously on the side, and what I'm digging is look at how they took the style of that kind of metallic flat, black finish, brought it into the door, really to give it that extra overall feel. Like I said, comparing this to a RAV4, for example. You're gonna have gloss black on the mirror caps, slim and trim on those turn signals. I think one of my favorite elements of design is how you take this body line from the hood and look at how it dips into the passenger doors all the way towards the rear and then fades away. Then you're gonna have another body line up top that then gets very, very bold into that rear fender area. I think this is super smart because it makes it look good. And I think that's what a lot of manufacturers need to focus on. Yes, EVs need to have a nice range. They need to have all this great technology. They also need to look good. And I think Toyota is doing a great job with the overall style. Gloss black across the whole roof. That's gonna blend in that panoramic sunroof very nicely. Bright, shiny metalwork has been kept to a minimum, only on the top. And I think that was super smart because it kind of differentiates the difference between the color with the two-tone style going on. Coming towards the rear, you'll notice how that lower sill kind of extends out. And all this is not only for aesthetics, because it does look good, but it's gonna help flow that air from the front to the rear of the vehicle. Because remember, if you're able to cheat the air, that's gonna help us get that 300-mile range that seems to be what everybody's gunning for. And I definitely think, like I said, styling-wise, Toyota has really just checked off so many boxes. Coming to the back end, the tail end of the business, I'm actually gonna use a word, maybe you haven't heard me say with an EV, it looks sexy. I'm really digging what they did with this low spoiler extension. You have the drop down. Those are two vortex generators to clean up the air because there's gonna be a lot of turbulence. You wanna clean off the air coming off the back of the vehicle. Then that brings us to that rear lift hatchback style with that extra aero there. Of course, we're gonna wrap it off with our Toyota badge, the bZ4x. Love the blue. The blue accents, even on the badging, really shows the attention to detail. And then dropping all the way down, it wraps off with a nice, simple, but clean design with that lower bumper area. Nice flat black. Great job on the LED turn signals and taillights. But while we go ahead, we really looked at the exterior. Let's take a peek, a little sneak peek of what's going on with Toyota's first electric SUV. All right, guys, before I let you inside, there is just a slight correction. Remember, this is one of one in the world. We said that this was actually the charge port door. It is not. It's actually on the driver's side, but Toyota, all about that symmetry, wanted to kind of balance out the design, and that's why they did that. But speaking of design, look at that interior. So remember, think about how a RAV4 feels to you size-wise on the outside, but definitely think about your RAV4 on the interior. Look at how they really maximize that outlining of the interior. You're gonna have that massive infotainment system. Really think it was so smart to go with that bridge console system because that's gonna allow you to have that storage that's so useful and beneficial on that lower side. Of course, you're gonna have your 12-volt plug-in, your USB-Cs, all that connectivity. Gonna be interesting to see this in motion once we get that chance. But really how they were able to take the compact size and make it usable and how that flow. I think some of the most interesting details that I could talk about right now is just how that infotainment system flows nicely, seamlessly into the center console area. I love the two-tone style with the seat material, with the rest of the carpet, and then on the dash, really unique touches that I think many people are gonna gravitate towards because it feels like a traditional Toyota design, and I mean that in a very good way. So you have your gloss black, you have that two-tone style, nice door pocket, super clean styling that takes what the exciting part is on the outside, brings it to the inside. But why don't we go ahead, this is where your passenger is gonna be sitting. Let's go to the business side where you're gonna be sitting as you drive this vehicle. All right, guys, before I let you see the business side, like I told you, charge port access, you could see the location of it on this vehicle. easy to get to on the driver's side. But you know what? Like I said, get ready for where you're gonna be sitting, because there's some really interesting style and technology. So when you look at what's going on, you can see your familiar seat controls, just like you find on maybe your current Toyota SUV that you have. But I'm really digging what they've done with the steering wheel style, flat black on the buttons, and then look at that digital display, the way it's mounted. I've never seen anything quite like that for that gauge instrumentation as you're going down the road. This, I think, is really gonna bring that excitement, and even that different style of materials. The cloth on that portion around the AC vent really shows Toyota's, you know, extensive use of different materials to create that unique driving experience. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the back seat and see how much room is gonna be back there for your passengers in this vehicle. All right, guys, backseat time. Obviously, we're gonna be getting more access as these vehicles go from that concept stage into pre-production prototypes, pre-production, and then obviously the full-on what you're gonna be buying maybe one day at your local Toyota dealership. But backseat area, nice thing to see is that you're gonna have plenty of backseat volume for those rear seat passengers. You do have the material all the way around the backs of the seats, and then you'll notice the easy to get to controls, heated seats, those USB-Cs, USB ports, and the AC vents for the backseat passengers. The material, I'm telling you, I really love the style of detail on the rear passenger seats, just like up front, and I think the color for this particular prototype is spot on the money of what many people desire in the marketplace right now. But these are the exciting things that Toyota is working on as they go with their first of 7 electric vehicles that are going to be coming down the road, plus a lot of other alternative fuel examples like the Mirai. But why don't we go ahead, if you're ready, I'm ready, let's wrap this one up. All right, guys, it's been an amazing experience here in Texas at the headquarters for Toyota. Lots of great unveils, but you know what? I know a lot of you have been asking and are so excited for this particular vehicle, and I'm telling you, wait until you see it hopefully in person at an auto show, because the auto shows are gonna be opening up, the big ones. Hopefully Toyota brings this out, because I think a lot of people, the excitement is just gonna build. But I wanna thank everybody here at Toyota USA for allowing Raiti's Rides access, not only to this vehicle, but to the rest of this beautiful campus to see all the exciting things that they're working on. If you wanna keep seeing EVs and other alternative fuel vehicles here on Raiti's Rides, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit the subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rides family. If you wanna help us keep making great content just for you, 2 ways to do it. Click the first link, become a Raiti's Rides Patreon member. Click the second link, get yourself some Raiti's Rides merch. Gotta give it up to the queen of the camera. She's working in all conditions, all vehicles to bring it to you. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.